Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chris. So I'm working on the Challenger again. It's Monday. Of course, FedEx fucked me again. Excuse my language, but I hate FedEx. They were supposed to have my differential here today, and of course, it said Monday all the way up until Monday. It said 9:40 to 11:40, and at 11:30 they changed it to Tuesday. I called them and flipped out, which did me no good. They suck, they suck, they suck. Anyways, I took the suspension all apart on one side, took the axle out on that side. I'm going to change the axle boots. I'll show you guys how to do that. This is the axle. So these are, I paid $2,100 for these two axles, and of course within a month I ripped apart the boot because of all this other damage. But I'll show you how I'm going to fix that. I got new boots for it. And I don't use those two-piece boots, they're one piece. So I'm going to show you how to do all this. I don't have the light over here, it's on the other side, but anyways, I took apart the end link for the sway bar, so that's disconnected. The shock is completely out. This arm right here is disconnected. The trailing arm's disconnected. The upper and lower, oh actually the upper is disconnected. I just didn't pull the bolt out. So I just have to pop that bolt out, but I don't need to drop this just yet. I just needed to get some stuff out of the way for the drive shafts to come out. The axles to come out, sorry. And the brake, the rotor, the brake caliper, the rotor, the lower control arm, then this lower control arm, the main lower control arm. I had to take off the shock and everything. I haven't taken that off of the knuckle because I don't know exactly how far I have to go in order to get the axles in once I get the differential in. But I also have these suspension lockouts that I have to put in, which I'm going to try to get those in tonight, as well as the suspension apart and then the new boots on the CV axles. This way tomorrow when the differential comes in, everything else will be done. And also I was missing a hanger for my exhaust. One of the rubber hangers ripped, and of course it's one that's in a bracket that I'm gonna have to, they welded it shut, so I'm gonna have to grind it off and then re-weld it. But maybe I'll show you guys that too while I'm doing it. But here let me get you guys where you can see what I'm doing. Alright, tighten that up. This arm thing makes it good for me to be able to show you guys good angles. Alright, so this is where what I'm starting to do. All that stuff I did over there is what I'm starting to do over here. And I have the jack. I lowered the car and I put the jack up with a bunch of those rubber blocks that I put underneath the car when I lift it, holding the cross member, because the suspension is oh, that's not exactly straight, but the subframe is pretty far down. It's down enough. Whoa! It's down enough that that's holding it up. I'm gonna lower that and straighten out these blocks, because that was a little cockeyed. But this is what I mean by taking down the subframe. So I have to lower the car. I have to lower the car enough that that I can get a jack under it, because unfortunately, you know, like the big jacks that they make when you have it on a full rise lift wouldn't be effective for me here. And these low jacks are not really all that great, because I'm right in a middle spot at 4 feet, which is how high this lift will lift it. You're in a middle spot where the tall jacks are not going to help you, and the short jacks are inconvenient because you have to lower the car more than you would have to otherwise. So anyways, I'm going to start taking this side apart. I have the axle nut almost completely loose, but I have to take this other stuff loose before I can finish with that. So I got the light out so you guys can have good lighting and see what's going on. So now I have all the nuts and bolts in a magnet tray, and I'm going to start taking this stuff loose. A lot of it I'm going to need the big impact for. This is the big 1,400 foot-pound Milwaukee. It's the best impact I've ever seen. So these are all either 18 or 16 for the most part. 18 or 16 millimeter for the suspension back here, the handling, all that kind of stuff. So that's that rear arm that I had taken loose on the other side that I showed you. And I'm taking this side loose, and then I'm going to do the sway bar end links, which I replaced. Those are BBKs. All right. Okay, that's out. All right, and then I got to use the number 8 Allen to hold one side of this. And this is in a kind of a shitty spot, so I'm gonna have to use a wrench. 16, I believe this is a 16. This might be a 15. Let's see. No, that's a 16. I'm tightening it. This is back on the other side. This is the sway bar end link, which you have to have the subframe supported when you do this, because once you disconnect all this stuff, the subframe, I mean, all the suspension's going to drop. So if you don't have it, if you don't have the subframe supported, I mean, you need it lower. You need the subframe lower anyways. So there's really not any other option. Even just when I had to change this sway bar, I had to drop the whole subframe just to get it up in there across. It's kind of a pain in the neck. If it wants to stay in there, that's fine, you can stay. Okay, I'm going to take off the shock. And then I'm going to do the caliper and the rotor. And then once I get the CV axle, oh, that's too big. I think that's a 16 up there. Once I get that stuff out of the way, I'll take the axle out, and then I'm going to bring them in my shop and do the CV boots. I'll do those inside, because I want to put them in the vise, and probably use my bandsaw to cut the clamp, and then I have a pneumatic tool that spreads out the new boot. I don't like those two-piece boots that glue or screw together, so it just spreads out the rubber for the new boot, and then you can go right over the CV axle, and then you can just, you know, release it on the other side when it's on. Excuse me. Just make sure you keep track of all your bolts. Alright, let's take this bottom one out. I think that is an 18. Well, I'm going to have to do it from the other side, but let's see. That's an 18. There's a couple of them that are 19s. I got a 19 right here. This is the 18. Let's see which one it is on that side. Oh no, that's a 16 on that side. But a couple of these bolts are 19s. I'm not sure which ones off the top of my head. I could probably take the extension off of this. But swivel sockets are the key on this stuff. I use them for all this stuff. Oh, I dropped you guys, sorry. Alright, let's get you back up. This clamp is pretty good, but you gotta clamp it onto something solid and tight, and I just whacked into it and knocked it off, but it stays pretty good for the most part. Alright, here we go. So I got the wrench on one side, impact on the other. But the swivel sockets make it so much easier. What the hell? Son of a bitch, I gotta get under here. I can't see what I'm doing. Shit, that might be a 50. Is it? strip 16. Let's try to see if I can do it the other way around. No, that's not. I don't have it deep. That ain't gonna work. I have to use 2/16. If it's not a 15, let me grab a 15mm socket and test it. Turn you guys a little bit so you can see the whole picture. Let's see. Just bring the whole rack over there. And get another 16mm wrench. I usually bring out my straight wrenches, I bring out the straight wrenches, the long straight wrenches like the one I'm using over there, and the regular straight open ends, and then my S wrenches and my angled offset wrenches. So I'll show you what I mean in a second. That's not it. Where's the 15? Just in case it is. So that's my S wrench 15. That's my offset. There we go. Offset 15, and then my open end 15. There we go. No, that's a 16. I might need that too, though. Alright, let's see what it is. So when I say an S wrench, this is what I mean, because sometimes you get really rough spots to get into, and then these are the offset for other kind of rough spots to get into, and then just regular open end. Let's see. No, that's a 15 for sure. Yep, 15. Alright, so what I could do is I'll just probably crack it loose with this, and then I'll grab the ah, you fucking bitch. Excuse me. That thing's not gonna move. Alright, I'm gonna get the impact 15. I think the other side was a 16. Where am I going? The shock in right here. That side was an 18. 18 and 15, okay. My things are really in there. Needed the impact for that. You see, that thing's hard to get out too because now it's got the tension going down on it. So I'm gonna get some other stuff loose before I try to take that all the way out. The strut, I mean. That can stay there for a minute. See, I hate having the car down this low because, I mean, it's like almost as low as being on jack stands, but when you have to lower the subframe, you don't have a choice. I probably should have left that damn extension in there. Maybe I could do it with the, there's my ratcheting 15mm. Go. These nice long wrenches are good. You get some good leverage with them. And then I'm going to do this control arm and trailing arm, and the I'm going to take the caliper off right now and get the rotor out of my way. But the shock is actually in the way of the strut, so that has to come out. Alright. I did the other side. I figured I would just start the video once I only had one side to do because I didn't want make it a crazy long video because I'm trying to just get the important stuff. Alright, so I gotta get this. Let me do that first. That's an 18 for the brakes. I may need the extension on this, I'm not sure. Alright, I have to do this trailing arm before I can get it. I have to do this before I can get that. So I need an open end 18 for that. I don't think I have that. I think I was able to get the circular one over it on the other side. I don't know if this side is gonna allow me to. Let me see, this way maybe. Let me just get the open end. Alright, that's got to come off because I can't get to one of the caliper bolts, and that's all it is. This thing is really on there. Jesus. Son of a bitch. That red Loctite, man, I'm telling you, no joke. Get my mallet for that. Maybe I can get it out with some leverage with this. Alright, I'm gonna get the mallet. It's right here. There we go. Alright, now I can get that off. Caliper. See, this rear end with the four-wheel independent suspension is kind of a pain in the neck. Alright, one caliper bolt. And the second one's up here. I'll use the extension for that. See, the only way I'm able to get those bolts from these angles is those swivel sockets. For the longest time, I didn't even have a set. I was like, I have a universal joint and short sockets. What do I need those for? My God, they make a world of difference, bro. A world of difference. I wouldn't do this without them now. Just being stubborn before I got them. All right. Okay, now that's loose. Alright, I could probably get the axle out now. Let's see. Yeah, the axle I could get out, and then that top control arm's gonna have to come loose. And then I'm hoping not to have to take the bottom one loose, because the bottom one, the bolt holes are really a bitch to line up. That's one thing I definitely will never forget how difficult that is. And always try to avoid. I don't think I'll have to, because I would rather take the wheel hubs out and put the axles in that way, which I could totally take the wheel hubs out from the other side once I get the axle out, and then I could put them, well, yeah, they're kind of hard to put back in with the axle there. So I don't know if I would be able to do it that way. We'll see how it goes. Just take it one step at a time. Once I get everything here and I'm ready to put it in, we'll take it from there. But let me get that axle nut off and pop that axle out. This is a 32 millimeter on the Dodge. Alright. course, I can probably pull that out with the pry bar from there. If I can get under there. There we go. Maybe I'll go like this. I'll get my mini sledge. Axle. Okay, so next thing is the suspension lockouts, but right now I have both of the two axles loose, so I'm gonna take these down into my shop. I'll put the video on pause, but I'll show you guys what I'm doing real quick before I stop this segment. So I'm going to take these two axles. Let me grab the light so you can see which boots are ripped. You'll definitely see it when we get downstairs, because I'm gonna have these in the vise where I have my boot tool. So this boot is good here. Oh no, that's the one that's ripped. Never mind. This boot is good here. That side is good. This is the one. It's not very bad to rip. It's just that spot. But I'm not leaving it like that, obviously. I mean, if any of you guys have a car like this, you understand you don't leave stuff like that. So these, I don't know if I'm gonna cut them with a grinder or some kind of heavy metal snip or by bandsaw, but I'll get them cut. But these are G-Force. These were like $2,100 for the two axles, but I mean, look how big this shaft is. It's like 36 millimeter. They're very, very heavy duty axles for CV axles. So this side is good, that side is not. And I I got neoprene boots to put over the new boots to keep them from hopefully ripping in the future, or at least make it harder. But this one's destroyed. This one is totally ripped in half. And I got new grease, I got new boots, new clamps, and the clamp tightening tool. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm not really taking a break. I'm just bringing these in, and then I'll start the video back up. But I'll show you guys what I'm going to do when I get in there. You'll see the tool makes this job really easy. You get new boots and you just lift them right over. It's not very bad when you have the right tool. I'll show you. All right, I'll see you in a few, guys. Hey guys, it's Chris. I'm here in the workshop. So one other thing I meant to mention that I ended up finding that was broke. Here, I'm going to turn you around and bring you over here to the vise where I just did this, and where I'm going to be doing the CV axles. Actually, I may go back to the bandsaw, so I may have to turn you back around. But over here on the vise, oh, you're not far enough. That pole's going to be in the way. Let's bring you over like this, and back up like this. There we go. All right, so on the vise, this is one of the hangers for the exhaust, and I guess GM thought it was a good idea to weld it. That seems to be multiple manufacturers like to do dumb shit like that. This is a hanger for the exhaust, and this was welded into this rod. So I have a new hanger coming, because I think I mentioned my exhaust was holding up my differential. So my axles and a lot of the drive shaft. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is when I get the new one, I'll put that through it, and I'll put this back over, and I'll just MIG weld that back on. I'll probably MIG weld it because it won't be so hot as TIG welding for the rubber. I mean, it's heat resistant rubber obviously for an exhaust, but it's, that's a whole different level of heat on a TIG welder. So I'm going to take a look at the axles and see what I have to do. I could use like an air grinder, an air cutting wheel, cutoff wheel, or I have like an air grinder that's it's like a regular grinder, it's longer. Or I may cut these with the bandsaw. I got to see how they fit. Like this one has to be cut, but also if I snip that might make it come loose with some heavy snips. And then this one over here, but I'll show you the pneumatic tool. This is the tool I'm going to use to expand the CV boots. I'll show you how it works. Sorry about the air compressor noise in the back, but I've been using the pneumatic tools already to cut that, the hanger. Okay, so you hook this up to an air source, and what it does is, boom, it spreads out the CV axle. I'll show you with a CV axle, I mean a CV boot. So for instance, if I'm going in this way, I'm going to put this up onto here and put those through the end. And then I'm going to spread it out. And far enough so I can get over the end. So that should be probably far enough. Yeah, just about far enough, right? Yeah, that's far enough right there. So, I mean, I can make it go a little bit further. The compressor's filling up, so it'll have a little more force in a minute, but that's far enough to get it over. And then you just release it once it's in there, and you slide it on, and that's that. And then I have to do one in this direction, that'll be that one, or I could do it in that direction and go all the way across, but I could just leave it in the middle and then slide it up there. I may actually do it that way, but you could also put this on first and just slide it up, which I'll probably lube this up a little bit so it'll slide a little better. And I could just put this like this and then get that onto there and boom, slide it on like that. So it's got a good amount of force. This way you get a full CV boot all the way around. You're not using a cut in half one with glue, or they have some that screw together. I don't trust those, especially on a car like this, and especially the way I drive. It's not a good idea in my eyes. So let me see if I can find my heavy snips. I was using them recently. Of course, I didn't put them back where they go. So maybe I'll just cut it with the grinder, and then I'll use the linesman. I'll use the linesmans to pull it off. So I think I'm going to try to do that. This is the pneumatic cutoff that's more like a grinder I was talking about. Oh yeah, that was nice and easy. And then there's a specific tool to tighten these. I'll show you that when I get there. And then there's a pack of grease for each side. All right. And pop those off. All right. And then these boots are on there pretty tight. So, no, it's not too bad. That's coming off. All right, so I'm gonna pack that with new grease. I didn't drive it like this. Obviously I couldn't, so it didn't get too much contaminants inside there, but I have new grease. I'm gonna repack it with grease anyway. And I have a particular grease that I prefer, but I'm gonna stick with axle grease. I like Valvoline Cobalt. It has moly in it. It's expensive grease. It's, for a grease tube, heavy duty grease for machines is usually around $3 a tube, and the Valvoline Cobalt is like $8 or $9 a tube. So it gives you an idea. It's got some good stuff in it. Let's see, I'm gonna have to go, oh no, this is gonna go that way. So we're gonna put that on there, change my air connection, pack that with grease. And then I have one more to do over there. All right, let's put this on here, let it stretch out a little bit. All right, start getting some grease in there. probably plenty. Oh, that's actually, shit, it's not reaching. Oh, I can put this in the middle of here. That's how it, there we go. Let's try to slide that off. See, these are pretty big axles. These are much bigger than normal. So let's try to stretch that out, see if I can get this further in there. That's a little further. All right. And let's see if I can't slide this off on here. That end part's going to be a little tough. Is the other side a little smaller? Maybe I can go at it from there. And I can reverse the boot. Because that's having a hard time getting over there. At least it'll be the larger side tool shot, so I can go around the grease. Maybe I'll try it that way. Because I think that side's diameter. Oh, there's a dropping chunk globs of grease already. Of course, I had to get my hands covered in grease. Couldn't do this without it. Why would I be able to? You gotta have shop towels handy. All right, let's see. Let's turn this boot around. Try it from that side. I don't know if the diameter is much smaller or enough to make a difference, but the shaft is actually narrower on that side as well, on the outside, the spline shaft, and that might help me get this over there a little bit further so I can loosen it where it needs to be loosened. Let's try to keep that in the right spot and slide that up there. All right, stretch it out. All right, let's see. That's gonna work any better. And I can just slide it on down. Okay. Get over there. There we go. That should work better. That's getting off. Just slide it off, slide it over these ribs. I mean, it's a heck of a lot easier than doing it the way you would do it with the cone. They come with a cone. And the cone is, you know, it works, but you have to spray it. I mean, I've seen guys spraying it with Pledge for inside your house. And frankly, I don't know how much Pledge for inside your house belongs inside your CV boot on your car. So I don't prefer to do it that way. That's why I got this pneumatic tool to do it. Which this would work a lot easier on a smaller axle. These are really big aftermarket axles. But there it is, it's on. Okay. Now, that glob of grease is from me rolling it onto the bag of grease by accident. All right, let's put that in there. Okay. Now we're gonna take this, pull it down off of this thing, without trying to not rip it. On the other clamp. I'd like to find something smooth. There we go. Just got a little hooked on the clamp on the other side. Alrighty, there we go. Now this can be cut at this joint. There's a joint for if it's a bigger end of the axle, which the end of it is big, but that's not where it stops, where this gets clamped on. So I'm gonna cut it at that joint where the next band landing is, because that's the one I need to use. So this piece can get cut off. And then I'll show you how to tighten the clamps on these.
So these are all just little side effects of the big stuff. And then I have the cradle lockouts that I'm going to put in because I can do that now. And I'm going to do that tonight, and then tomorrow the differential and the hanger for the exhaust will be here, and I'll be able to finish all that stuff up. And then my car will be back on the road, and I'm very excited to be able to drive it. I did get my Denali on the road again. My Denali was having, I was going to do a video about it, but I ended up just doing it a little bit here, a little bit there, even at my house. And I don't usually do much stuff like that at my house because I don't have a whole lot of tools at my house. Because obviously most of my stuff is here. But I had some stuff in my truck, which is, you know, from work. I have stuff in my work truck. And I used what I had in my truck, and I ended up getting to the bottom of it. But I had a little bit of a fuel issue with the Duramax, which is notorious for being difficult to find out what it is with fuel issues. And it was, but I found it. So here's the bigger clamps, and these have, you know, these can be tightened a good ways. This tool tightens them. So I believe, I have not used this tool. I actually just bought it for this. So I'm not exactly sure how I do this. I think I go, let's put this around here. I've used a different type of clamp for these before. I haven't used this actual clamp before. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that's in there. It needs to go one more. It's got to stay up here. Don't do that. Come on, buddy. You son of a bitch. Get up there. Now it's all greasy, so it's going to want to slide around. But you got to get the grease in there. So it's not really anything you can do about that. You son of a bitch. Is that side coming off? No, no. Yeah, it is. You fuck. No, it's not. It's right. That's the right size where I cut it. That's exactly the size I need it. Here, these are a little smaller. Oh no, that's not smaller. It's just rung up a little bit more. How about, no, those are the same. I just have the big side and the small side, so this is not going to be any different. I wonder how this, well, we're going to find out. All right, so, no, you stay under there. All right. Now, so this goes on to this part, and so does that. Right, and then you twist this. I have to get a wrench, and then I twist that, and it'll pull it, and then I can fold it over again, and it'll pull it even more. Let me just wipe my hands one more time. Okay. Oh, and here's my heavy-duty snips, of course, right now. Let's see. I need to find my open-end wrench. Where the hell are all my big ones outside? I have a ton of adjustables. Oh, here we go. Here's my snap-on. All right. So you kind of twist this one. There we go. Finally. Twist this one, and that's going to start pulling this, right? And okay, no, that's not. So I believe I'm supposed to put that part in here at the edge of this, so that this holds that right there, right? And then don't come off. It's just so damn slippery. Come on, hook there. Hook that shit. I'm doing something wrong. Like I said, this is my first time using this tool, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong exactly, but I think I'm gonna have to look for the directions for this thing, which I don't usually do, but it seems I might have to. I guess I'm a little stubborn, a little old school, that I don't like directions, because I feel like I should be able to figure stuff out after all these years of doing it. And I always do, but if I look at the directions, it'll happen quicker, which makes me feel like an asshole for being stubborn, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to. Some of you are probably smarter than that and read the directions in the first place, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Come on, man, don't keep squeezing off of here. Stay the hell on there. I wish I could use like a hose clamp or a zip tie just to hold it while I do this, but I think they'll be in the way. You son of a bitch. I don't know how this thing is supposed to work. It doesn't strike me as something that's gonna work well. Maybe I'm supposed to pull the other side. That seems like a more sensible way to do this. I should probably cut some of it off so there's not so much excess with these heavy snips that I just found. Maybe that is what I'm supposed to do. It would make more sense to do it that way. Because that's the way it's going around. Let's see. But then what would I put in this part? Oh no, this is not the way I remember seeing it done. No, this is not right. There's something I'm not doing. I don't even think there was directions with this. There was just the package, which might have something on it in reference to how to do this. But it looks like, honestly, my PEX crimper would probably fit on it. It really does. I don't know if my PEX crimper is going to get quite that big or not, but let's see what we can do here. You son of a bitch. Alright, you know what? This is driving me nuts a little bit, so I think I am just going to throw a hose clamp on there for right now to hold that down, and then I'm going to find the directions, and maybe, honestly, on the front, I can probably figure out how to do it, and then I'll go back to the back and do it, because the front doesn't have all kinds of grease on it, and this will at least give me enough time to figure it out and keep the grease in. That's not big enough. This one might be too big. This one should work. Alright, I need a 5/16 driver. Where the hell is my impact? Excuse me one second, I gotta run up and get my impact. I was using it. If any of you guys watch me for the air gun stuff, you'll be interested to see. I'm gonna make a video. I bought a motor and some paracord, and I made a target retrieval system for my shooting range. And for the air guns, I just the only thing I have to do now is make something to hang the targets on, which I already have an idea what I'm going to use. I've just been so busy working on the car and the truck, that I haven't been able to do all of that. So that part I haven't gotten to, but I got the motor mounted. I made a motor mount out of a piece of 5/8 steel, and it's a pretty secure bracket, and I used a piece of 2x12 across a couple of ceiling joists, and I secured the 5/16, or I mean the 5/8 steel to that, and that is now holding the bracket that has the motor, and it goes the whole 50 yards down the range. And it's a reduced motor, so it goes on the slow side, but that's kind of what I wanted. I don't want it going so fast that the paracord gets tangled up. My hands are too slippery to switch this around right now. I need 5/16. Okay, let's put this on for right now. You gotta get into here so you don't slip over that way. And you gotta loosen it just a little bit. That's gotta go down, and then I can slide it back here. That part doesn't want to fit back there. There we go. And then the bottom part is, well, that's pretty well back there. I just need to tighten it up now. If I can get this in there. Okay, now that's holding that pretty good. That's pretty solid. Oh yeah, that's holding that pretty damn good. I just want the real clamp on there because this is a little big, and I don't know if it'll, I don't think it'll cut it, but I'm gonna do it right anyway. So I'm gonna figure out how this thing works on the bottom half. So let's try with one of these smaller ones and see. I don't know if this is the wrong tool for these particular clamps or what. So that goes like that, and it's going to lock into those, but how do you, maybe I just go as tight as I can, and then I should have probably gotten a different tool that would pinch that, but that's just like my PEX connections. I don't know if my PEX tool will work or not. It might be in my truck, but I'm not sure. Oh no, it's right here. I don't know if that's going to open wide enough for it. Let's see. Oh, it does. It fits right in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's working. Yeah, that worked. Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, I guess I got the wrong tool apparently. So let's try that with this. Especially now that that one's in the right place, it'd probably be easier because it's not able to slide forward. All right, take the bigger one, see how tight I can get this. Oh shit, it's still gonna try to slip off this part, but at least it can't go forward any, so it's gonna make it a little bit more challenging for it. What this thing might actually do is get me in the right spot in the first place so I could crimp it tight. Alright, get on there, fucker. Excuse my language, guys. This is sometimes can be a frustrating task, stuff like this. And I just don't tend to hide it much because I'm just that kind of guy. I'm very transparent. I am who I am. Some people love me, some people hate me. Well, no, I don't think anybody hates me. I hope not. I try not to do anything that would make anybody hate me. Try to be a good person, treat people with respect, and so on and so forth. But I can cuss like a truck driver sometimes. So that's why I apologize for it, because I know I'm well aware of it. Okay, let's see what I can do here. Okay, if I pinch that down, The rest of it seems to be staying. It's that one spot. It seems to be a little pain in my neck. Okay, let's see now. If I hook this back here, I think that'll help me pull this to where I need to get it before I crimp it. Don't slide, don't slide. All right, come on, come on. Get in there. Get on in there. That's one notch before I wanted it. I need to get it as tight as I can, so there we go. All right, that seems to be pretty good. Ah! You see? Pain in the ass. All right, let's see. That should be okay. Let's see if I can get this on there. Well, I don't think that's quite tight enough. I think that needed to be tighter. I don't know, let's see. Oh yeah, it's not even over that lip right there. I mean, it's on the lip, but it's gonna, actually it doesn't want to move over. I guess it is on there pretty tight. Maybe I'll just put 2 clamps on it. If I can get that to move over the hump there. It's hitting that bolt, that's why. There we go, now it's getting in there. That's in. Alright, that's in. Now it's all in, and it's just not being held as tight as it could be. So I think I'm going to do the second clamp. Now that I'm getting better with it. These are way long. These, I guess, are universally, so you can use them on any vehicle. Let's see if I can at least pull it tight with this thing. I do know how to use these. This is for a different clamp. I mean, not like I told you I haven't used them before, but I've seen them used, and it was a little bit different type of clamp. That's why I'm having a little bit of a hard time, because I think it's something like the PEX crimper that you get to pinch that spot. And that tightens it. So I got the wrong kind of clamps. But this one should be perfect. Fuck. Once I get it on there, it should crimp it nice and tight. There we go. No. Yep. There we go. All right. Now that's on there tight. All right. Alrighty, look at us. That's pinching down the first one, and it has a ton of excess, but I'm going to just try to, it was up under there, I think. I'm going to try to see if I can slide it, because the more I cut it, then the more sharp edges, even though they're underneath the clamp, which shouldn't affect anything, but no, that one ain't going to fit underneath. It's too tight. But it's held on there pretty damn good. That ain't going anywhere. So I'll just pull this out to over here, and I'll snip it. And then I also ordered some neoprene boots to go over this, but they're boot covers, and they're either used as protection for your regular CV boots, or as like an emergency if it breaks in an emergency, you can use it for like an emergency way to close your CV boot to get you home. But for me, I'm using them for a permanent fix, so that's why I got the solid boots. You can see the original boot is a lot heavier rubber, a lot heavier rubber. Is that coming out? Let me see. I want to make sure no axle grease is going to come out. It should be pretty tight. That last one was tight. Yeah, it's just the grease moving around. That's tight. All right. I'm gonna try to degrease my hands before I do the other one. Well, they're gonna just get greasy again. The other one's not all that bad. I'm honestly I was thinking about just cutting the crimps and going right over it with the other boot, because it's really only a small tear down by the bottom. I could honestly just clamp it one ring up and that would be totally fine, because that's the only place that it's broke, and it didn't even get to the axle grease. So honestly, I think I'm probably going to try to do that, because there's no, I mean, I don't have a use for the other boot, but who knows, maybe it'll tear in the future, but it's just not, like, these are farther down than the one I just put on, which I could move that down, but I don't know if it'll move at all. It won't. But if I could take one more ring out, because it's not doing anything down there. There's no grease. There's not even a sign of grease coming out. So that would totally be a sufficient repair, because it's just keeping it from actually ripping, you know, any further than that. So let's see if I can get this to pull it a little tighter. Get one more notch further, and then I'll crimp it. Yeah, that did it. All right. And then take my PEX crimper. All right. Okay, that should, I mean, that's sealing off the section that's got the hole in it. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put one more clamp. I got a whole bunch of these clamps, so I'm not going to run out or anything. But I'm going to try to see if I can get this clamp that's right on the hole. And then I have 3 clamps at the end, and that hole is completely sealed off. If I can flatten that section a little more, which it's not going to move either. These are all on very tight. I mean, you would think it's rubber, it could slide a little bit, but it's on there that tight. Even the new one is. The PEX crimper was the right tool. They have a tool that's automotive that's very similar to that. I don't have a hammer, right? That's made for this, and I probably should have ordered that one, but I didn't realize at the time that I had ordered the wrong clamps, obviously. But it still worked out. As long as CV boots aren't leaking and my axles have good grease and they're sealed up nice. But hey guys, all right, so back in the garage. So one other thing that I'm going to try to get done tonight. So this is the exhaust hanger that I was showing you that they welded. This is what it looks like before I had to cut the welds. And I'll just re-weld it with the new one in the middle, but I had to just cut those welds because that piece in the middle that's holding it is welded on, and the other one was ripped completely. So I have new rubber grommets like that, exhaust hanger grommets coming. So I'll put one in and then I'll weld it back. But so this is all taken apart, as you can see. I've got everything loose, and I've already got the subframe supported. So now what I'm going to do is I already have these bolts that hold the subframe right here. You can see it's very loose. That's the washer right there, and then up there. And those have lockouts that I bought a set of. So yeah, and you can see there's some axle grease on my shock right there. So that's all going to be, you know, I'll clean it all off when I'm done doing all this work, but right now I got to just get it done. So, but once all this is done, which should be done by tomorrow, I'll make another video when I do the differential and the differential locking bracket. But tonight I should have the carriage lockouts done, and the axle boots are already done, and all that other stuff I got finished so far. But I'm in pretty good shape. Tomorrow I should have this thing back together and all the loose ends tied up, all the little stuff fixed. So these are 18mm bolts. I'll show you what the lockouts look like. So this is for one side. So rather than those washers on that side is going to be, let's see if I can put the light in a better spot. So rather than those washers, it's going to be this big disc. And this goes on the bottom here,
And then on the top, this is going to sit on top so that these are going to like hold that bushing in place so that it doesn't have room to move around, which this one I can just take out because it's already supported by the jack in the middle there. That's holding up the cross member for the subframe. See, I might need the impact. No, it's gonna come out. These are pretty long bolts, but the thing is I have to lower it to get this top piece on. The bottom one is obviously gonna be easy because it's just gonna go like this. And that's that. I think I do need to, or do I in the back? I don't think I need to cut this. In the back, I think it's just gonna go like that. Yeah, and that's gonna lock that in place so there's not a lot of movement, especially with this top part holding the other side of it. So I'm gonna have to lower the jack a little bit with that out. And I'm gonna take the front bolt out, and I'm gonna probably just do one side at a time. So when I lower the jack, not my whole bottom end comes down. Because I mean, when you get those bolts all the way out, it's kind of hard to get them realigned. This side, I don't know. I've seen people cutting this little wing that's there. I don't know if I need to cut it or if I can get it. I mean, if I can get it out, I can just cut it with a cutoff wheel in the down in the shop. I'll just bring it down real quick and cut that off with a cutoff wheel. But we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to loosen that bolt right now, and because I need to get the back end down far enough to. I need to get it down far enough to get to the top of both of these two, and then this smaller ring will go on the bottom of this one here. That'll go right there with this thing out, and then you have to actually cut some of the rubber too, and then the smaller ring goes with that and the bigger ring goes with the back. So I'm gonna get my impact, take that bolt out, and then I'm gonna lower the jack down a little bit. Those are 18 millimeters. And then these bolts, when you put them back in, these are 120 foot-pounds of torque. So when I put everything back together for the final time, you guys will see I do everything to torque spec. All right, there's the bolt. Oh yeah, wow, that thing is stuck in there, isn't it? Jesus. I might have to cut that out right here. I guess that doesn't come off. There's the other bolt. Oh wow, that thing is on there pretty darn good. Actually, I think I could probably get it. I gotta get one of my big pry bars, but I think I could probably get that off. Yeah, I could probably pop that off with a pry bar. I'm gonna do that. Let's lower this down a little bit. Now I'll run and grab a pry bar, and I'll try to break that loose. Let's see if that's enough. Oh yeah, the front is separated. The back is separated. Yeah, so now for that, see if I can get this in here. Yep, I got the top ring in the back. Just gotta seat that down in there. Okay, that works. Get the top ring in the front. That's gonna be a little tougher to seat down in there. Might need a little WD. Actually, I have some grease coming out of this. All my fittings are greasable because I replaced all the parts, so there's a little grease coming out of that one I can use to loosen this up, slide this in easier. Because that rubber grommet is pretty rough. That's the good grease that I use, the stuff with the moly in it that I was talking about earlier. You see how sticky it is? That's some really good grease. But with the axles, I'll stick with the axle grease. Okay, Watch it slide in there a little easier now. I'll probably be able to push it down with the pry bar that I have to get anyways to try to get that bottom piece out. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. Let's just take me 1 second. I'm gonna get my long pry bar. I'm not sure what the range of this microphone is, but I'm just walking back into my shop to grab my big long automotive pry bar. I'm not sure if it very well may. These are on radio frequency, so they're not like a Bluetooth one or something. So they actually have a very long range. They probably will work all the way down into my shop. That's another one of my hobbies is radio. I have my camera. These are the perks of owning a commercial building. I get to work on my car late at night. It's about 1 o'clock right now, so I'm going to be heading out of here in an hour or so. As soon as I'm done with these lockouts, and then the beginning of the bracket for the differential, because unfortunately I tried to do this during the day. I did part of it during the day. I took some of it apart, but my job is so random when I have to work that I always get pulled away from my own stuff, which really gets frustrating, but it pays the bills. Alright, let's see if this thing's gonna come off. Jesus, that thing is really on there. What the fuck is holding it on there? Son of a bitch. I'm definitely gonna have to cut that. Son of a bitch. Alright, I think a Sawzall with a metal blade is the best tact to cut that. It has this little wing here that kind of, that's like, it's so this is gonna completely lock the whole thing. So that bushing is gonna sit in the middle here, and the outer lip of this is gonna sit on the outside of that, so that can't really move much. That's why they call it a lockout. But the one they have on there is just like a little
a little, maybe 1/3 of that circle, so that it can't move. Like, it's not really holding much, honestly. These are going to make a huge difference with that. And between that and the differential bracket, should keep the rear end really straight and really well supported. So I'm not positive, but I may have a Sawzall right in the back of my truck here. Nope, you know what? I took it out when I went to the competition. This is, I have my Denali because I just fixed it, so that's not my work truck. So I have some tools in it, but I don't keep a whole lot in there. So unfortunately, I should have just grabbed the Sawzall before, but I was hopeful that that was going to work, but when I saw how stuck on there it was, I'm not going to waste any more time without cutting it. These I did do a little bit of research on. There was only a couple of videos, and actually one of them was the same guy that did the differential bracket and the lockouts. He seemed to have a really nice 16 Challenger that he really kept up, because it looked fucking pristine. Excuse my language, but it looked like like underneath was absolutely pristine. I mean, mine has a ton of new parts on it, and his looked even cleaner than mine. I mean, mine is not very clean because it hasn't been washed. It's been sitting in here for 2 months waiting on parts, but still, I mean, it will look clean when I get it on the road. But for a 2015 or 16 or whatever it was, it looked phenomenal. All right, let's cut this baby off. Make it my creeper over here comfortable. Somewhat comfortable. Yeah, and he used a drill bit to do this. I do not recommend using a drill bit. That was way faster. I'm almost done. And he was using a Milwaukee drill bit, but he was using a DeWalt impact, which I find ironic because I use both myself. I almost all Milwaukee, but DeWalt, the 60 volt stuff, just has Milwaukee on some tools, and they just aren't coming out with a battery like that to compete with them. It's a shame, because Milwaukee really is my favorite. All right, I'm gonna need my hammer, which is, I think, on the other side. Get that last front piece off. The big wing part came off.
Okay. Alright, so this is the part that I'm talking about. This is the wing. And then this goes right around the nut, or in around the grommet where the nut goes through on the metal part. And it must be part of that, or welded to it or something. I may have to cut it again from the side if this doesn't come off. It doesn't want to come off, it doesn't seem like. Alright, well, I'll just cut you. Milwaukee has a big sawzall. I have two of the big sawzalls too, but I have two 18 volts and one 12 volt of the little hacksaws like that because they're much more convenient in tight spots like this. There it is. So I'll show you what was holding me back. That right there. This went to this, however it went, like that, and it's only covering a small portion of what this is going to cover. And now I have to cut that rubber. There's a piece of rubber that goes out over the side, not in the middle, so it's going to be in the way of this. And that's pretty thick rubber. Luckily this is a fresh blade, so it should go right through it. Oh, I'm not right through it, but it's going. You know what? I'll just cut that with this too. Let's see what we're getting. I'm gonna cut a little piece of it off. It's starting to get to more of it. Let's see if I can get it with the knife. Now that I can pull it down a little bit, see if I can get some more light over here for you guys. See what I'm doing. Not quite. Let's see. Put it over here. There we go. Now you can see. So this grommet that is, well, this section of the grommet that goes around the side is going to be in the way of that circle going up into here and encasing the inner circle. So you don't want that. You want that part to sit flush and lock up in there. So it's in that circle of the subframe holding the grommet in place, which is the whole idea. Come on, buddy. There we go. Oh, there's more of it. What a bitch. I probably should take this thing apart and get some more access. Oh, and make it some pin pullers. Where are the other ones? Where's my angled pin pullers? There we go. All right. These things are kind of a necessity when you work on cars. To be able to pull these and not break them. And you have to keep some extras on hand too, just in case you break them anyway, but these make it a lot less likely. When they're really brittle, you kind of can't help it, but mine aren't too bad on this car. but the rubber block that it's sitting on the lift is what's holding it. Now, see if I can't keep it down a little bit with the caliper. No, that ain't gonna hold shit. Well, that's about as much clearance as I'm getting, I suppose. And that is not being nice. That's good. I got a chunk of it. One more chunk over there. Hopefully I can get to that with the knife. Oh, what a pain in the neck. See, now I wish I had my work truck with me because I have the carbide blades for this. And those last a long time, even when you're cutting thick stuff like this, they'll still stay sharp for a while. I'm gonna try to get the sawzall up there. What a pain in the ass this is. I mean, shit, Dodge, if you were gonna put this stuff in there, couldn't you have just done it right so I didn't have to put these in at all? What the fuck, man? Dodge always likes to half-ass shit. It's burning rubber, it's smoking. Let's see if I got that piece off. No, you fucker. I got it started. Shit. It's such a bad spot, man. Oh, I got a fastener right here holding this up too. That would make my life a lot easier. I need a small, like an 8 or a 10 millimeter maybe. Let's see if that's a 10. Probably. Yeah, there's a couple of 10 millimeters holding this plastic up on the bottom. This monitor guard or whatever. There we go. Oh yeah, that's much better. Now I can get to that. I'll do that on the other side in the first place, because this is not the most comfortable position in the world. All right, let's get this fucker cut off. Yeah, the exhaust pipe really helps. In my back. Ow, son of a bitch. You're such a fuck. This is some seriously tough rubber, dude. I mean, I'm getting through it, but it's like slowly but surely. Very slowly. There you go. Get up in there. Get that down to the middle so that thing can sit in there nice and tight and lock that shit up.
Now the next thing I'm going to do, I got to order these strut tower braces because I'm going to keep making the power for this car. I'm going to definitely do the motor soon. I might do the motor this winter. It's already October, so I probably got only a couple weeks to drive this thing. And once I put it in the garage, I have a multifamily nearby here with a two-car garage. It's kind of like 2.5 car and then a loft. But I keep it there, but I don't work on it there because I don't have any tools or a lift. So I might keep it here part of the winter to do the motor swap. All right, that should be good. And then I'll probably drive it next year with the 426 stroked motor and no other modifications. I'll leave the supercharger off, and then I'll do the supercharger if I decide that I want to after I feel it naturally aspirated, which I'm sure I probably will. I'm a nut for power, but if it's that powerful without it, naturally aspirated like that, and with all the other mods that I've done, then I might keep it that way because I don't want it to be like impossible to drive on the street. But just in case I do want to get the supercharger, I'm getting forged parts in the motor, so I can if I want to. Well, it's not long enough to get in there like that, so gotta jack it back up a little bit. All right. All right, that should be good. There we go. That's catching. Okay. I know I'm going to have to lower this a little bit tomorrow for the differential, but I don't think I'm going to have to lower it enough to have to take these all the way back out. So I'm not hooking the suspension back up or anything. I'm just going to tighten these in just to see how they sit. But I'm going to do the other side first. So the other side should be pretty easy because I have all the stuff out here and I know what I'm doing now. I just did it once. But I mean, it's relatively easy. I mean, it's easy because I have everything apart already. That's obviously part of it. But so if you don't have everything apart, it's obviously going to take a little bit more time. But you know, I mean, that only took like 30 minutes, but the car's already apart. So that's obviously a big part of that. So maybe I would think an hour and a half to do this if you just, because you could just loosen stuff. You don't have to take everything apart like this and then have to put it all back together, because when I put this back together, I have to jack this up to get these back in place, and I have to try to line each one up. I hate taking this rear end apart. It's not fun because you know, you're jacking up the shock with this control arm, and then you have to try to line everything up against the force of the shock, and then the strut adds to it. It's just not fun, but it is what it is. It's the way it is, and the car handles incredible because of the 4-wheel independent suspension. So it's, you know, you get that, and you got to kind of deal with what comes with it. Let's try to put some of these tools off to the side. I'm going to just put these in my tool bag at the end of the job so that I can throw them in the trunk, and tomorrow they're already out here. Okay. All right, guys, so you saw me do that side. This is just going to be another one of the same thing. I don't want to kill you and make this video hours and hours long, so I'm gonna cut it there. I'm gonna just do the same thing I did on the other side. And for tonight, the only other thing I might record a clip of is starting to put the bracket for the differential, and after that I'm out of here, and then I'll finish it tomorrow when the differential comes, and then I'll record it then. But as for you guys, I may start recording another small part of putting the differential bracket on if I don't find anything in my way to do so tonight. Otherwise, I'll be back with you tomorrow. So either way, it'll be 2 seconds for you. Have a good night, guys.